What we're about to explore isn't about forcing yourself to feel different or pretending problems don't exist. It's not about putting on a fake smile or battling every negative thought. The real key to not being so affected by external events or people goes much deeper than that. Most people miss it because they're searching for solutions outside themselves, not realizing that true change only happens from within. Have you ever noticed how some people stay calm no matter what's happening around them? They handle crises and uncertainties without falling apart, while others seem to be on edge, overwhelmed by even small challenges. You might wonder, is it just their personality? Or do they know something the rest of us don't? The common mistake people make is believing that life just happens to us and that our emotions are automatic responses to events. But that's not the whole picture. Everything we feel and experience is shaped by how we see the world, our long-held beliefs, and emotions that we haven't learned to manage. It's like wearing tinted glasses. If those lenses are clouded by fear, resentment, or guilt, then everything we see mirrors those feelings. It's not that life is unfair. It's that we're filtering reality through emotions we haven't dealt with. Today, we're diving deep into the wisdom of Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that doesn't just teach us how to survive, but how to truly thrive by transforming our internal world. Stoicism isn't about suppressing emotions or offering empty platitudes. It's a practical and powerful framework for personal growth that has stood the test of time. As we explore these life-changing ideas, I invite you to join me on this journey. And if you find value in what we discuss, a simple way to support this channel is by hitting that subscribe button. Also, try not to skip ahead. Each part builds on the last to give you a complete guide to mastering your inner world. So let's get started. You know that feeling when everything seems to be going wrong and you feel like life is just happening to you? It's easy to believe that we're just reacting to whatever the world throws at us. But here's a different perspective. The idea that external events have direct control over our emotions and well-being is misleading. It keeps us stuck in a cycle of reacting and feeling like victims. The Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius had a different take on this. He famously said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you'll find strength." What he meant is that it's not the events themselves that dictate our emotions. It's how we interpret them. This idea is backed by modern psychology as well. Carl Jung pointed out that it's not what happens to us that shapes our behavior, but how we respond to it. Believing that life just happens to us can make us feel powerless. It's easy to think our happiness is in the hands of fate, other people, or random events. But the truth is, every moment offers us a choice, how we interpret and respond to what's happening. When you start seeing life this way, you realize you're not just a leaf blown around by the wind of fate. You have the ability to choose your path. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, our thoughts, emotions, and actions. That doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means shifting our focus from what happens to us to how we engage with it. Instead of thinking, things are happening to me, you shift to, I choose how I respond. This change in perspective is incredibly powerful. It moves you from feeling like a victim to feeling empowered. Let's break this down with an example. Imagine you're stuck in traffic and frustration is building. Ask yourself, will my frustration clear the traffic? No, but it can definitely ruin my mood and my day. That's a moment where you can pause and shift gears mentally. Instead of letting frustration take over, maybe you turn on an audiobook or some music you enjoy. Suddenly, you're making the most of the situation, and it doesn't feel as bad anymore. This isn't about pretending traffic isn't annoying. It's about choosing a response that improves your experience instead of making it worse. This ability to reframe situations isn't just a mental trick. It's a whole new way of living. It helps you act with intention rather than just reacting on autopilot. Instead of being consumed by stress, you find opportunities for growth, patience, or even enjoyment in unexpected places. This is the essence of creating your reality. You develop a state of inner calm that isn't easily shaken by external circumstances. And that's when the core principles of Stoicism, mastering your mind so that no matter what's happening around you, you remain in control of your peace. Peace isn't about avoiding challenges. It's about building the strength to handle them with confidence. Now, let's talk about reclaiming your power. This isn't about control in the traditional sense. It's about taking ownership of your internal world. The Stoics understood this well. They believed that true empowerment comes from mastering your own responses. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, put it simply, the greatest remedy for anger is delay. This means introducing a pause between what happens and how you react, giving yourself a space to choose your response rather than being swept away by emotion. This isn't just about controlling your emotions. It's about shaping your entire life with intention. Empowerment at its core is self-mastery. Carl Jung captured this beautifully when he said, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." Your past, your circumstances, they don't define you. What defines you is the choices you make in this moment. That's the power you always have, no matter what's going on around you. It's easy to feel like life is something that just happens to us. When things go wrong, it's tempting to say, "I have no control over this." But the Stoic perspective challenges us to look again. Even in the toughest situations, while we may not be able to control what happens, we can control how we see and respond to it. Take losing a job, for example. You could see it as a disaster, or you could view it as an opportunity to realign with what truly matters to you. This doesn't mean ignoring the difficulty or emotional weight of the experience. Instead, it means consciously choosing a perspective that empowers you rather than one that drags you down. Reclaiming your power also means setting boundaries, knowing where you end and where someone else begins. True strength comes within, from deciding how much influence you allow external events and others' actions to have over you. Another key element of empowerment, resilience. It's not about pretending things don't affect you or bouncing back instantly. It's about moving forward despite challenges, using every obstacle as an opportunity to refine your responses and grow stronger. Every setback can become a stepping stone toward a more empowered version of yourself. Now, how do you put these ideas into action? It all starts with awareness. Before you can change how you react, you need to recognize your patterns. As Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Once you're aware, practice that Stoic pause. The moment you feel a strong emotion, whether it's anger, frustration, or fear, just breathe. That brief moment creates space for choice instead of automatic reaction. Ask yourself, what's really happening here? Is my reaction based on the actual situation, or is it being shaped by past experiences, fears, or assumptions? Then, shift your perspective. The way you interpret an event shapes how you respond. If a friend cancels plans last minute, instead of thinking, they don't respect my time, consider other possibilities. Maybe they had an emergency, or they're simply overwhelmed. This doesn't mean ignoring or excusing behavior. It means approaching situations with clearer, more balanced mindset. From there, you decide how to respond in a way that aligns with your values. Maybe you bring it up with your friend in a calm, constructive way instead of stewing in resentment. Maybe you recognize that this isn't a pattern and let it go. The key is responding intentionally rather than reacting impulsively. Reclaiming your power isn't about controlling everything. It's about mastering yourself. And that mastery starts in the small moments, with the choices you make every day. Taking control of your emotions is a powerful way to build confidence and personal strength. One way to deepen this practice is by taking a few moments at the end of each day to reflect. Think back to the times when you felt strong emotions. How did you handle them? Ask yourself, did I react out of habit, or did I take a moment to pause and choose my response? What could I do differently next time? This kind of reflection isn't about self-criticism or dwelling on mistakes. It's about learning, growing, and preparing for future challenges. The more consistently you practice this, the more you strengthen your mental and emotional resilience. Just like exercising a muscle, over time, responding thoughtfully to life's ups and downs becomes second nature. Imagine your emotions as a storm inside you. Picture yourself standing on a beach as dark clouds gather. The wind picks up and waves crash onto the shore. This storm represents the powerful emotions we all experience: anger, fear, sadness. Just like a real storm, these emotions can feel overwhelming and uncontrollable. But the Stoics offer a useful perspective. They teach that while we can't control external events, we can control how we respond to them. Instead of getting caught in the storm, imagine you have a sturdy shelter on the beach. a place where you can observe the storm safely from a distance. The storm is still there, but it can't overpower you. You're protected, not because you stop the storm, but because you change how you engage with it. This is what happens when we step back from our emotions. We acknowledge them, recognize their power, but don't let them sweep us away. Carl Jung touched on this idea when he said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." Inner peace doesn't come from ignoring difficult emotions. It comes from understanding, acknowledging, and integrating them into our whole self. When we do this, we gain a deeper sense of balance, resilience, and clarity in our lives. Transformation is about shifting the stories we tell ourselves. It's not about denying reality or pretending problems don't exist. It's about reframing our experiences in a way that empowers us rather than weakens us. Stoic philosophy teaches that while we may not have control over external events, we have absolute control over how we interpret them. As Epictetus famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This is the key to transforming your narrative, seeing challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities for growth. Carl Jung also spoke about transformation, comparing human interactions to chemical reactions. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. Every experience, every challenge, gives us a chance to rewrite our story. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" try asking, "What can this teach me?" This simple shift changes your perspective from victimhood to empowerment. Think about a time you face a major setback. Maybe you lost a job or a relationship ended. It's easy to see these moments as failures. But what if, instead, you viewed them as turning points that led you to something better? This isn't just about positive thinking. It's about actively choosing a perspective that aligns with your values and goals. Rewriting your narrative often means confronting deep-seated beliefs about yourself. Jung spoke of the shadow self, the parts of us we ignore or deny. True transformation requires acknowledging and integrating these hidden aspects of ourselves. This process, known as shadow work, helps us move from being controlled by fears and impulses to being fully aware and in control of them. Start by paying attention to the stories you tell yourself when things get tough. Are these stories helping you grow or holding you back? Are they based on old fears or the present reality? As you become more aware, you can actively shift your perspective. Instead of thinking, "I always mess things up," try saying, "I sometimes make mistakes, but I always learn from them." Small changes like this can reshape how you feel and act in your life. As we wrap up, remember this: a new reality is within your reach, one where you are not at the mercy of external events, but where you navigate through them with wisdom and strength. This isn't just an abstract idea. It's a real, achievable state of being. Through self-awareness, self-discipline, and the courage to confront your inner world, you can cultivate a sense of peace that isn't dependent on outside circumstances. The Stoics believe that the only thing we truly own is our internal state. Everything else can change in an instant. Carl Jung echoed this idea when he said, "What you resist not only persists but will grow in size." Instead of resisting challenges, approach them with curiosity and a willingness to grow. By changing how you see and respond to the world, you don't just change your reality, you transform it. So step into this new way of being. Experiment with your responses. Shift your perceptions. See how much control you actually have over your experience of life. This journey is empowering and eye-opening. It doesn't just change how you interact with the world. It changes what you attract into your life. Thank you for sharing this time with me today. I encourage you to take these insights with you. Let them sink in and apply them in your daily life. As you do, watch your reality shift into one where you are calm, empowered, and deeply resilient. Your new reality is waiting, and it's one of strength, peace, and transformation.